It was one of those nights in the NHL that make you believe in the unpredictable theater of sport, that anything can happen until the final horn. On Tuesday evening at PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, the Anaheim Ducks pulled off a shocker against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Down by 1, and with barely a fraction of a second on the clock, the Ducks somehow forced overtime and eventually won 4-3 in the shootout. The twist, a fluke goal, accidentally knocked in by Penguins defenseman Erik Karlsson with just 0.1 seconds left. What followed was pandemonium, heartbreak, and unforgettable elation. This was not just a comeback win. It was a gut punch, a surreal, almost cinematic collapse by Pittsburgh, and a defining moment for Anaheim. For hockey fans, for the players, for both locker rooms, this was a night to remember, setting the stage. Late power play, momentum in Penguins' favor, the game's narrative throughout regulation appeared to belong to Pittsburgh. Early on, the Penguins drew first blood. Noel Achiri scored at 9:49 of the first period, his first goal this season, when he capitalized on a face-off win that came back to him off the skate of a teammate. The wrist shot from the left circle found its way past the Anaheim goaltender, giving Pittsburgh a 1-0 lead. Pittsburgh kept pressing. Through much of the first period, they outshot the Ducks, establishing control. Meanwhile, Anaheim seemed to be on its heels, forced to match the speed and aggression, hoping to find openings but unable to convert. It felt, at that moment, like a familiar script. Penguins exerting dominance, Ducks scrambling. But hockey is nothing if not a war of attrition. And sometimes, just sometimes, fate intervenes. Ducks bite back. Momentum, goals, and a shift in energy midway through the second period. The Ducks began to show flashes. The first sign came when Jackson Lacombe carried the puck from the point, skated down the far wall, and unleashed a wrist shot from a sharp angle that beat Penguins netminder Arturs Silovs over his right shoulder. That tied the game at 1-1 and cracked open the door for Anaheim. Not long after, the Ducks struck again. Troy Terry, showing poise and opportunism, found the puck in the right circle, arched a wrist shot under the crossbar, and gave Anaheim a 2-1 lead. The crowd, partly stunned, partly energized, sensed momentum shifting. At that point, the dynamic had changed. The Ducks, once on their heels, were now dictating play, testing Silovs, chasing puck, pressuring the Penguins. The tone of the game had mutated from a likely Pittsburgh win to a tight, unpredictable battle. But just when the Ducks might have been seeding themselves for a comeback victory, Pittsburgh answered. With 19.4 seconds left in the second period, Tommy Novak collected a rebound from a one-timer initiated by Karlsson, then wristed the puck past Husso from below the goal line, knotting the game once more at 2-2. The momentum pendulum kept swinging, and as the third period loomed, it became clear. Neither team was willing to give an inch. The heartbreaker, power play goal and goosebump finish early in the third, the back and forth continued. But then Pittsburgh struck again. On the power play at 16:05 of the third, with the Ducks shorthanded, Anthony Mantha attempted a pass through the crease to a teammate. The puck deflected unpredictably off the stick of Anaheim goalie Ville Husso and slid into the net. The Penguins, up 3-2, seemed poised to close it out. With under 20 seconds remaining, the Ducks lost a face-off deep in their own zone, an ominous sign. The puck cleared out. Pittsburgh appeared to be in control. The clock ticked towards 0. It seemed likely the Penguins would head home with 2 points. Then came the final, unreal act. With just 0.1 seconds on the clock, rookie Beckett Sennecke, a 19-year-old sensation, took a desperation shot into the crease. The shot, by many accounts, seemed to be going wide, off target, a Hail Mary of sorts. But skating backward in the crease was Karlsson. The puck deflected off his glove inadvertently and trickled into the net. The buzzer went off. Goal, 3-3. The arena exploded. Officially, the goal was credited as unassisted to Sennecke. But the hockey world, watching the replay in awe, recognized the strange reality. Karlsson had essentially scored on his own net. It's a kind of play that doesn't wake up in your nightmares, but still finds its way into overnight headlines. Sennecke, when asked after the game, said he didn't even glance at the clock. "I saw it go in," he said, "and I looked up 0.1 or something like that." Perfect. For Anaheim, the bench erupted. Celebrations, disbelief, relief, some of it from shock, some from vindication. For Pittsburgh, confusion, hurt, anger, and maybe shame, all wrapped in a single, stinging moment. Overtime and shootout, redemption for Ducks, devastation for Penguins. With regulation time expired, the stage was set for overtime. For several tense minutes, both teams probed, attacked, defended. Chances came and went. Shots rang off post and pad. Neither side could find the elusive fourth goal. When overtime ended scoreless, a shootout decided it. Enter Ville Husso. The Ducks goaltender, who had already seen his share of rubber that night, stood tall. When Pittsburgh lined up for the shootout, Husso stonewalled each attempt. All three of the Penguins shooters were denied, stopped, or sent wide. Meanwhile, the Ducks needed just one goal in the shootout to clutch victory. That goal came from Leo Carlsson, who scored with a backhand in the first round. The puck slid through blades and into the net, setting off wild celebration among Anaheim players, staff, and fans alike. When the final tally was calculated, the scoreboard read Ducks 4, Penguins 3. So Anaheim had done more than survive. They had triumphed. What it meant for Anaheim, for Pittsburgh, and for the record books. For the Ducks, this win was more than just 2 points in the standings. It was affirmation, momentum, and heart. It was a reminder that in hockey and sports, sometimes belief outlasts logic. The 19-year-old Sennecke etched his name into franchise lore. He became the first NHL rookie this season and among only a handful in league history to score a game-tying goal in the final second of regulation while shorthanded. According to official record books, his goal matches the latest game-tying goal in Ducks history. For goaltender Husso, 44 saves across regulation, overtime, and the shootout with perfect shootout performance added a sparkling chapter to his season. From shaky starts to clutch finishes, this was a night to be remembered. For Pittsburgh, it was a cold, brutal lesson. Even when you think you've done enough, hockey, like life, can flip in the blink of an eye. Karlsson, despite contributing to assists earlier in the game, will no doubt replay that final deflection in his mind for days. "It hit my hand and went in," he said afterward. There was no question about it. How it came to be that way, I don't really know. From a franchise perspective, the loss marked yet another missed opportunity. The Penguins, despite often dominating play and creating opportunities including power plays, found themselves unable to close, and in the end, undone by an on-goal. It's a bitter pill for a team accustomed to aiming for the top, the human side. Emotion, shock, and what players said. In the post-game locker rooms, contrasting emotions painted two very different pictures. For Anaheim, joy, disbelief, a "we just don't quit" vibe. Reporters captured scenes of helmets hitting lockers in celebration, coaches hugging players, rookie smiles hidden behind face masks. The mood was electric. One could hear the undercurrent. This was more than a win. This was a statement. Sennecke, just 19, struggled to find words. "I saw the puck go in," he said, almost in disbelief. "Then I looked up 0.1. Perfect. No hint of bravado, just shock and gratitude." Teammates rallied around him. Veteran players clapped him on the back, offering embraces more than congratulations. Husso, the backbone of the victory, was calm. In post-game remarks, he gave credit where it was due, to his teammates, to Sennecke, to relentless pressure, and to focus when the moment counted. All night long, he had gone toe-to-toe with dozens of shots, and when it mattered most, he stood tallest. Meanwhile, in Pittsburgh's locker room, the silence was heavy. Karlsson sat, gloves in hand, head down. The weight of accidental infamy, an own goal that would be dissected by fans and media, hung in the air. Through 60 minutes of solid play, they had outworked Anaheim. They had power play opportunities, pressure, and a late lead, and yet loss. Other players like Novak or Mantha, who scored legitimate goals, knelt, stared at the floor, or simply walked out without comment. The collective grief of the locker room wasn't dramatized, it was real. The message was unspoken. We blew it. Aftermath and what comes next. Standings, momentum, and reflection for Anaheim. The win adds to a growing streak of resilience. It was their third straight victory. In their fifth in the last 7 games. A run that could define their season if they harness this energy. The morale boost, the kind that lives long after the final horn, will carry into their next games. On the flip side, Pittsburgh, though still statistically strong, will need to answer questions. How do they respond to collapse? Can they reset mentally? Will a freak deflection be a turning point or a warning? With a 5-game homestand underway, the pressure is on. For both teams, fans, and league observers, this game will be a reference point, a cautionary tale, a moment of magic, a tribute to unpredictability. Sports, in its purest form, rarely disappoints on nights like this. Closing thoughts, a night to remember. There will be full periods written about this game. There will be highlight reels, social media debates, replays, run on loop. How could that happen? Some will ask. Is this the craziest finish all season? Others will wonder. For the players who lived it, especially for the young winger who thought he was firing a benign slap shot and ended up rewriting history, it will be a memory etched in forever. And for fans, a reminder. In hockey, the last second belongs to nobody, but can belong to anyone. As the Ducks exit the rink tonight, they carry more than a 4-3 win. They carry the taste of what's possible when belief meets chaos. For the Penguins, the sting will linger. But perhaps, if they are fighters, it will galvanize them too, because in this league, heartbreak and redemption often travel the same path. For now, the ice has melted, the fans have dispersed, but the memory remains slippery, surreal, unforgettable.